First of all, appreciate all the work that you guys have all done with this event. I know it's been hot, but we appreciate all the time and energy and support that you guys provide for the event. Yeah, what we're planning to do is, we have felt for a long time that we need to have opportunities in this country during the summer when when all our athletes, the world's #1 team, is ready for big-time competition, as they peak for the World Championships, as they peak for the Olympic Games, as they peak for the Diamond League events. And we feel that the U.S. should provide opportunities for these high-end athletes. So in 2006, we hosted a professional track meet here in the summertime. In 2007, we did the same. We took a hiatus because we weren't sure where that was going and what the objectives were of that and whether we were fulfilling them. Then we put this, last summer, we put that Run Track Down High Performance meet in with the intention, full intention, of shifting the paradigm of everybody just running out of town after the U.S. Championships or after the Olympic trials and going to Europe. So starting in 2016, what we plan to do is move the Track Down organization to expanding into different cities around the United States. So we've reached out to 12 different cities in major media areas, and we're waiting for all the responses from these cities. We've had good response from 4 thus far that I'm not ready to roll out yet. We have a great response from the athletes. We have great response from the investors, and this is probably one of the first times that any initiative has started with having the financial background and then developing the outcome of the rest of the ideas. So what we have is it will be definitely teams. There'll definitely be team scores. The athletes will be part of this organization. They'll have an opportunity that we think we can probably provide opportunity for 200 athletes. And our objective all along is to provide these great opportunities for the U.S. athletes. We may have some international athletes participate as well, but it'll be at a lower percentage. We really plan to implement what we've been talking about for a very long time, and that is a real way, a meaningful way to connect the running community to these track meets. So we plan to launch some real exciting, easily accessible and inclusive road racing to these meets, and then we will incorporate them into these 1.5-hour track meets, so perhaps having the finish line being on the track.
How many meets do you envision for 2016?
Right now we anticipate having at least 4, and there will be a national championships that will be held here. So basically in a qualifying procedure, we will have a national championship here in Eugene at Hayward Field. And the whole objective here is a build-up to 2021 World Championships. And my goal, and I'll throw it out there, is to create the stars of our sport their names to be kicked around as household names as we get ready to host the 2021 World Championships. Rather than have nameless and faceless athletes out here, we have such a fantastic team, great athletes, and we want to make sure that they are highly profiled in the United States so that we can get people excited. We also, with that in mind, we're in negotiations right now with a major television network to broadcast these.
With respect to the team component, would they be geographically oriented teams? I mean, city teams, or would they be sponsored? Teams with a sponsor behind them, or what's the...
There'll be city teams. And we will pit one city versus another, and then they will qualify from those to be able to make it to a national championship. They'll be all scored, and we'll engage the team concept, which is what we need in the sport track field, in my view.
The national championship will be a team competition.
That's exactly right. It'll be a team competition here. It'll be very similar to the way the NCAA is set up, where they have you qualify, team tries to win it, but you also have individuals that are competing.
So how are you going to allocate the athletes? Are they going to be people that live in the cities, or is it going to be a draft, or how are you
There'll
going to
be a draft. There'll be a draft, and I'm going to wait till our team investors meet, which will be sometime later this summer. All of our investors will meet, and they will determine the rules of engagement.
Is there going to be another meet at Hayward besides the national championships?
Another meet?
Yeah.
No. We will only host, right now the plans, Chris, are to host just the national championships in Eugene. I think all of you who have thought that my only objective was to get Eugene to be the only place that we have meets, actually that's never been my intention. My intention is to grow the entire sport, and we will take on what is a long needed objective for our athletes in the United States.
You say that the athletes are supportive of this. I mean, how do you know? Have you done polling? Did you send out questionnaires? I mean, how do you know that the athletes would support something like this?
Generally, I think that there are a couple of ways we've done it. First, we have included in the planning for the last 3 years athletes, and we've talked to them because we are mostly interested in engaging our younger athletes in what their future would be. And so they're really excited about it. We have some pretty cool elements to it that we're not ready to roll out yet. So we have had those athletes that have been part of our planning stages, number one. Number two, they'll be financially compensated for participating in this. So I have every reason to believe that once you put out some reasonable finances, and we can have an opportunity for them to not to spend $5,000 or $6,000 to go to Europe, and essentially make money, I think it's a win-win for everybody.
It's every event, right? You have every event?
No.
Okay.
We will not have every event. We will have different events vary throughout the regional events. It'll be a 1 hour and 45-minute national championship, and the specifics of it will be determined by those investors who participate in this. They will be the ones that make the rules of engagement.
So you can't say, for example, that if a team qualifies that they can bring athletes in any event, or I mean, there's a lot of...
No, there's what you would do. So you'd be in a position where it'll be up to the drafting, and be part of the strategy to be sure that you put the people in place, just like you'd build a collegiate team. You could be heavily directed toward the sprints and hurdles. You could be directed towards the distances. You could be directed towards the throws. But if you get too one-dimensional, you will never be able to win.
As a coach in every city?
The team owners will decide. Perhaps the owners / investors will either decide that they're going to coach the team themselves, or they will hire somebody or get somebody to coach their teams.
Would that work the same way with the drafts, kind of a GM type atmosphere, or is it the investors that would be doing the draft?
Right now, everything is about the investors.
As a practical matter, how will this work with the shoe companies and the traditional sponsorship of individual athletes?
They will still continue to wear whatever they currently wear. There'll be no interference with any of the shoe companies whatsoever. Every athlete, just like they compete in this event, just like they compete in the national championships, in track and field, they'll all, in the NCAAs, they all have different logos on their uniforms, and so a team could have different shoe companies sponsoring the individual athletes, and their uniforms will all be the same that they wear now. So an OTC athlete will wear an OTC uniform. A Brooks Beast athlete will wear the Brooks Beast uniform. I have nothing to do with it.
Will you have a single shoe or apparel sponsor for the circuit?
Not at this time.
How's this week going?